All right, folks, it's showtime. Hello and welcome to tonight's episode of Avoid These Costly Mistakes in Arizona Home Buyers Class. My name is Natasha Tomlinson. I am a realtor here in Arizona, and I have had the pleasure of serving many home buyers and home sellers in Arizona over the years, helping them navigate this Arizona real estate market since 2005. And I'm really here today to share some crucial insights with you. Over the next 30 to 40 minutes, we'll cover some common mistakes that home buyers make and how to avoid them. All right. And then we'll wrap it at the end with a 15-minute Q&A session. All right. So without further ado, I know you guys are busy. There's a lot going on. There's life. Life is happening for all of us. If you happen to be watching on a mobile device and you're driving, I'm not worried about any cameras at this point in time. We are across a few different social media networks. So if you don't mind, I will address any questions that come across, any real estate questions at the end of tonight's webinar class. All right. Before we dive right into the mistakes, I wanted to chat with you a little bit about three types of real estate markets. All right. You may have heard these terms used before, and I wanted to give some insight as to what these markets mean. The three markets I'm mentioning are a buyer's market, a seller's market, and a balanced market. Here in Arizona, you may hear those terms referred to quite often about real estate. So let me explain. A buyer's market, basically, it means there's more homes for sale than there are active buyers in the market. We have properties typically stay active on the market longer marketing times. Prices tend to be more negotiable. Buyers tend to have more bargaining power in a buyer's market. And sellers tend to offer incentives like money towards appliances or money towards closing costs at a successful closing to offset the money that the buyer comes to the table with. All right. Generally speaking, a buyer's market is 6 months of inventory. All right. It's not a hard and fast rule, but generally speaking, that's the case. Buyers have more time to make their decisions typically because there's more inventory, more homes available to look at. And as I mentioned before, longer marketing times. You have multiple options to choose from. Price reductions become more common. Contingencies are more likely to be accepted. Contingencies being you currently own a house and you're looking to move into your next home, possibly sell the home that you're living in now and move into the next home. Those types of offers made contingent upon the sale of your current house tend to be more acceptable in a buyer's market. Now, let's move on a bit and discuss a seller's market. A seller's market is where there are more buyers than there are homes available for sale. During the pandemic, we certainly saw that. You may have seen your neighbor, people lining up around the block looking, waiting to view this property. You wonder what was going on. Well, many people weren't excited about putting their home on the market during the pandemic. They're wondering, where am I going to go exactly? And there was a lot of concerns, fears, whether it was the right time for them to move their families, move because of work, what have you. So we didn't see as many homes on the market during that time. We did also see an influx of buyers from all around the country because in Arizona at that time, we weren't shut down as long as a lot of other people were. So we dipped into a seller's market during that time. Properties sell quickly in a seller's market. You tend to have multiple offers situations. Multiple offers are common. Prices tend to be in an upward trend. Prices are increasing. People are making offers above the list price. You have less than 3 months of inventory in a typical seller's market. And sellers have more bargaining power, and buyers feel pressured to waive contingencies in a buyer's market. And so those contingencies could be waiving the appraisal, waiving the inspection, waiving the HOA document reviews, things of that nature. They feel pressured to waive those things in order to gain access to win their bid. Properties often sell above the original list price during a seller's market. We see fewer seller concessions during that time as well. And quick decisions are required by buyers. All right, you have someone looking behind you. It's like, do I like it or don't I like it? Am I moving forward with this thing or not? In a balanced market, we have 3 to 6 months of inventory. We have an equal number of buyers and sellers in the marketplace. Prices are stable. There's negotiation on both sides, on the buyer side and the seller side. There's more give and take. Properties sell near their marketing price, their list price. And you see normal inspection times. You see the appraisal process taking place. You have average days on market are more stable. There are fair conditions for both sides. And typically, contingencies are accepted. All right. Neither side has a significant advantage. So again, what are some key indicators of this type of market, of these types of market? You're looking at the days on market, the months of inventory, the pricing trends. Are they tend to swing upward? Are they flatter? Is there a bit of a decline taking place? What are the number of price reductions, price enhancements that are taking place? What is the ratio between the original list price when the house hit the market and the price that the home sold at? That's another indicator of the type of market that we're in. If the difference is the sold price is above the original list price, we tend to be in a seller's market. If it's pretty even, we're balanced. And if it's below, we tend to be in a buyer's market. Just keeping all things fair, that the house isn't in need of great repairs and things of that nature. All right. The pace of sales is normal. 1 month, 2 months, things tend to move and be sold. Buyer competition is fair, right? You don't feel pressured to make a decision in either direction. There are some seller concessions that may be given as far as money for repairs or some money towards closing costs, but you won't see a seller paying all of the other parties' closing costs as you would in a buyer's market. Contract terms and contingencies are negotiable. Now, remember that markets, they vary greatly by location, by price point, and by property type. So what may be true for a single family house, single level, no interior steps, may not be the same for a 2-story home with no garage. And you see what I'm saying? Things of that nature. So you have to look that's located on the outskirts of town versus being in the middle of town. So there's a lot of things to consider. Local market conditions should always be analyzed for the most accurate assessment. Remember, real estate is hyper local, and we focus on location first. All right. So again, as I mentioned, we are diving into one of the most crucial mistakes that home buyers make. Mistake number 1 is counting themselves out before getting started. This mistake, it's particularly heartbreaking because it stops people from even trying to achieve their dream of home ownership, from even trying to achieve their real estate goals. Let's break down some common misconceptions and shed light on the reality of home buying qualifications. First, we're going to talk about those credit scores, right? Many people believe that they need a perfect 850 credit score in order to buy real estate. I've had past clients tell me, listen, Natasha, my credit, it's not perfect. It's nowhere near perfect. I couldn't possibly qualify for mortgage. I couldn't possibly qualify for a home loan. But here's the truth. While higher credit score, it could certainly get you a better rate. It's certainly possible, right? You can often qualify for a home loan with a score 580, 500 in some cases. So let's talk a little bit about that debt myth, right? Because that's how your credit score is partially affected by debt. Another thing I hear from potential home buyers, past clients, they worry that their current debt load prevents them from owning real estate, right? They worry that real estate is just not an option for them whatsoever. Student loans, medical debt, car payments, credit card debts, they assume that any debt automatically disqualifies them from purchasing real estate. And the reality, it's more about your debt to income ratio than the absolute amount of debt that you carry, right? Lenders, they typically look at for a certain ratio, and there are programs that allow for higher ratios that may have a little bit of an elevated credit score. The idea is for you to get in and to get into the game and then refinance later, but we'll talk about that in a later video. So don't let your debt, your student loans, your medical debt, your credit card debts, don't let it stop you from exploring your options. The third big misconception is about income. But I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, listen, I just don't make enough. All right. I don't make enough. I'm working part-time. I've got this going on. I've got that going on. And listen, we all have life happening as real estate and the rest of the world turns. I get it. But again, we're talking about not counting yourself out before you even get started. And they believe that homeownership isn't in reach, and worse yet, that it will never be within reach. But here's the thing. There is no set income requirement for buying a home. It is about your debt to income ratio. It is about how your income relates to the current home prices and how that relates to your other debts and your other responsibilities. There are programs designed specifically for low to moderate income buyers. And, you'd be surprised at what you qualify for. So what's the reality behind some of these home buyer qualifications? Okay, great. I don't know. This thing is has a bit of a mind of its own. All right. What is the reality behind these home buyer qualifications? The truth is, they're much more flexible than people think. Lenders, again, they look at your overall financial picture, credit, your debt, your income, any assets that you may have, look at your employment history, your financial responsibilities. It is a holistic view, not just one magic number that determines everything in your financial life. So let me give you a bit of an example. Here's a story. A while back, I worked with a young couple who thought that there's no way they could purchase real estate because of their student loan debt. They almost gave up before even starting the process. But when we sat down and we looked at their entire financial picture, we found that they actually qualified for a first-time home buyer program. And they are now happily settled in their new home. Yeah, they're new to them home, but it's theirs. And they're building equity instead of paying rent. And this brings me to my next point, the importance of getting accurate, up-to-date information. The home buying landscape is always changing, with new programs and options becoming available all the time. What was true 5 years ago or even last year may not be the case today. All right. Let's move on to mistake number 2. Mistake number 2 is not taking advantage of those home buyer programs. People are leaving money on the table. This is huge, folks. All right. Arizona offers several fantastic programs designed specifically to help you get into home ownership. Remember, a first-time home buyer is someone who has not owned real estate in the last 3 years. So you could have owned real estate 10 years ago, then you sold it, you moved out of town, you're moving back, whatever your situation may be, you haven't owned real estate in the last 3 years, you're a first-time home buyer, right? There are down payment assistance programs that are specific to a location, to an area. Others are dependent on your income. Some may require you to stay in the property for a few years, and some offer 100% financing. All right, let's move on to mistake number three. Mistake number three, which is, I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings about this one. I will tell you that. But we're here to shed some light on a few things. And mistake number three is getting sucked into the builder's marketing machine. And another big one, especially here in the greater Phoenix area, where new construction is, consistent and definitely a factor, forced to be reckoned with, right? They offer amazing communities, and we need our new home builders out there delivering options for home buyers. We do have a bit of a shortage, especially with the number of people that we have coming into town. But I want to point to the tactics that some builders use to get you through the door. Now, like I said, don't get me wrong. New home builders create beautiful homes, amazing communities with all these different features. And right now, some builders are offering some pretty fantastic incentives. But it is crucial to understand their marketing strategies so that you can make an informed decision. Let's talk about that model home. I mean, I've walked in there and thought, I want this. I want it. Why can't I have one? All right. And builders, they showcase their model homes with all the bells and whistles, upgraded finishes, premium appliances, professional staging, and it's designed to make you fall in love. But remember, what you see isn't always what you get at the base price. Another tactic is that urgency play. You may hear things like, listen, this is the last one in the community, or prices are going up next week. You better hurry and grab this one. And while sometimes that may be true, it's often a sales tactic to push you to make a quick decision. Builders also, they have preferred lenders a lot of time, and they may offer incentives for using their lender, like money towards closing costs, money towards upgrades, money towards appliances. And that can be great. It certainly sounds great, but it is so important for you to shop around and ensure that you are getting the best overall deal. Lastly, watch out for that upgrade sale. Once you're emotionally invested in a home, it's easy to justify upgrades that can quickly blow your budget. All right. Mistake number four. Mistake number four is another big one that I want you to be aware of. You go to buy clothes, you try on the clothes, and if they don't fit, it doesn't wear properly, whatever the case may be, you can return it or you don't purchase it. Yet people decide that they want to skip or waive the home inspection on a $3, $4, $5 million home. Skipping the home inspection, again, is like buying a car without looking out under the hood, buying a car without any facts. It might look great on the outside, but you could be in for some expensive surprises down the road. Let me explain why home inspections are so vital to the home buying process. First and foremost, a home inspection gives you an unbiased, professional overview of a property, of its condition. It's your chance to really understand what you're buying beyond what meets the human eye, okay? Your untrained eye. And it really is important whether you're looking at a brand new home or an older home, a 1960s home. It's important to get that home inspection done. Secondly, a home inspection, the period, can give you some leverage as a buyer. If significant issues come up during that home inspection, you can negotiate for repairs, maybe a change in price, maybe a credit to offset those repairs. Or if it's truly a deal breaker for you, you can walk away from the deal entirely. Without an inspection, you're essentially agreeing to buy the home as is, warts and all, right? Lastly, a good inspection, it can save you money in the long run. It can identify potential issues before they become major problems, allowing you to budget for future repairs and future maintenance. Now, let's talk a little bit about what a home inspection, what it typically covers. It reviews the structural elements, foundation, walls, ceilings, the roof, the exterior evaluation. I mean, when you look at the house, you're not looking at the roof. You may look at the ceiling and notice that there's no popcorn, but you're not looking at the roof. You didn't get up there to see the condition of the shingles, conditions of the tile, take a look at the underlayment. None of that. The exterior evaluation. How about the siding, the garages, the draining? When we actually get rain in Arizona, will that water drain away from the house, or will it move towards your foundation? Take a look at the roof for any leaks that have taken place, any evidence of leaks, whether there's proper insulation in that home, proper ventilation of the roof. Look at the electrical systems, check visible wiring, service panels, breakers, the fuses, the plumbing system, the pipes, the drains, water heater, check the water pressure. But look at the HVAC system, heating, cooling, the ductwork will all be examined. The interior walls, they're looking for any dings. If there's stairs, they'll make sure the stairs are inspected. Look at the windows as well. Fireplace, if there is one present. Ventilation in the kitchen and the bathrooms. Check on the appliances and give you a report with details on everything that they found, with pictures for you to keep for your records. Remember, while a home inspection is pretty comprehensive, a standard home inspection, it doesn't cover everything. So depending on the property and the age where it's located, you may consider doing a little more digging, right? More inspections. So a pest inspection, termite inspection, for instance. In Arizona, as the saying goes, if you don't have termites, you will, right? Because it's something about the soil, and you can just expect that to be something that you deal with at some point in time during your stay in Arizona. Radon testing, although not common, becoming more common because of the materials that we are putting in our homes, the stones that we're using in our homes, and there's off-gassing that takes place, so that may be a consideration. Mold testing, chimney inspections if there's a fireplace, pool and spa inspections if there's a pool or spa, asbestos testing on older homes. Let me give you a bit of a story, all right, that these folks, they actually walked away from the house, all right? They were first-time home buyers. They were looking at a home happened to be on the west side, and very excited about this home, as most people are. Once they get qualified and they have an idea of what their purchasing power is, they're excited and they're ready to get the show on the road. And they saw this home, it had lots of charm. It was an older home, single story, and a lot of the components were original. So we went forth, made an offer on that property. That offer was accepted. We came to the inspection time, because although inspections aren't required, I strongly recommend that you conduct inspections on the house. Anyway, they did an inspection on this house, and they found, I don't know what they didn't find. There were so many things with this particular property. And although it had been remodeled, on the surface, it looked fantastic. Underneath the bones, there were quite a few issues with the electrical, plumbing, sewer issues, roof issues, that it was just a costly undertaking for this particular home buyer. And so they decided to cancel that transaction. They canceled it during the inspection period. Their earnest money was returned. We moved on to the next home. But had they not done that inspection, there's no opportunity for negotiations. There's no opportunity to walk away. An inspection, it can help you also plan for future expenses. Now, maybe everything overall is pretty good. There's a few things that pop up in the inspection, as there usually are. All right. No house is perfect. All right. So maybe the roof is near the end of its life. In Arizona, you can expect about 20 years tile roof, maybe a little bit longer depending on the maintenance that was done. Or maybe the water heater is showing some signs of age. This information, it allows you to budget accordingly. You know what's coming up in the near future. You can plan for it and avoid surprising expenses down the road. Lastly, don't forget about that peace of mind factor. All right. Knowing that your potential new home has been thoroughly examined by a professional can help you feel confident in your purchase decision. All right, let's transition to the next mistake, shall we? And remember, I mentioned the inspection period. The inspection period is not just about the property. The inspection period is also about the neighborhood. Let's go back. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. It's also about the neighborhood. And that would be our next mistake, not researching the neighborhood thoroughly. Remember, when you buy a home, you're not just buying the structure, you're not just buying the bones, you're buying into that community. The neighborhood can have a huge impact on your quality of life and your home's future value. So why is the neighborhood so important? Why is it so important to research these things? Well, it ensures that the area aligns with your needs and your lifestyle. A neighborhood that's perfect for a young professional might not be ideal for a family with school-age children. And secondly, understanding the neighborhood helps you gauge the potential for appreciation. Is the area up and coming? Is there development that's taking place in the area? Are they bringing new amenities, new schools, new roads that could increase your property's value, making that area more desirable? Lastly, through research, you can uncover potential issues that might not be apparent during your first visit. Maybe the streets were really quiet when you were there, but normally that street is a major thoroughfare during rush hour, or maybe there's flooding that happens in that area, when we actually get rain. Now, what should you be looking at when you're researching a neighborhood? Here are some key factors to consider. Consider the schools. Even if you don't have children, school quality can really significantly impact the property's value. Look at the crime rates. I know no one likes to talk about that real estate, but the reality is crime is everywhere. So when you look at the crime rates of your new area, compare them to your current area as well. Look at the future development of that area. Are there plans for new shopping, parks, amenities, schools in that area? Or perhaps they're less desirable developments that you don't want to deal with. What about transportation? What are the commuter times? Consider those. Public transit options, walkability of the neighborhood, if that's important to you. What other amenities are offered? Shopping, dining, parks, other facilities that are important to you and your family. What about property values? Research the historical trends in that particular area. Are prices heading upward, or is there a downward trajectory? What about natural hazards? Is this area prone to flooding, wildfires, other natural disasters? Am I going to have issues gaining insurance or competitive insurance in this particular area? What about the HOA, the Homeowners Association, and their documents? If your home is located in a homeowners association, understand the restrictions and your obligations. We'll chat a little bit more about that in a few. What about the noise levels? Visit that neighborhood at different times of day so you really get a sense for what's going on. Maybe you work at night and you have a certain requirement. You really need some peace during the day so that you can get your proper respite so you can be functional. Or, maybe there's a rock band next door, and that's really going to cause some issues for you. What's the community vibe? Does the neighborhood feel like a place where you would fit in, be comfortable, and be able to call it home? All right. Now you're like, okay, great. That's a lot. That's a lot to take care of. Well, yeah, it is. You're not buying a $10 sandwich. you're buying a in 3, 4, 500,000 and up home, right? So it's important to research these things. Now, where can you find all of this information? Here's some valuable resources. Take a look at the government websites. They often have a lot of information on zoning, future development, public services. Look at the school district websites for information on local schools, and each school, I believe, is scored, so you can get an idea of an area based on that. Take a look at crime mapping websites like crimereports.com. And again, look at your new area and compare it to your current area. Look at the walk score if that's important to you for schools, parks, shopping, dining options. Check local news sources. And, I'm not one to watch the news religiously by any means, but at least get a feel for, man, that area is in the news again. What is happening over there? I don't want to deal with that. What about the FEMA flood maps? Those will give you some information, flood risks in an area, and your insurance company will certainly be interested in that as well. And your realtor, your real estate professional, we have access to a wealth of knowledge and data, local knowledge that can be invaluable to your research. All right. So let's dive into our next mistake number 5, which is skipping the HOA document review. And I know people like, Natasha, just give me the keys, all this paperwork. I don't want to go over all of this, but it's important. It's very important to do. It's crucial, really, to review these things. Oh, we're skipping ahead. Don't skip ahead. All right. Let's talk a little bit about HOA and what HOA stands for. It is your homeowners association. Your homeowners association is an organization in many communities that makes and enforces rules for properties and the residents. In Arizona, HOAs are incredibly common, especially in newer developments. Now, why is reviewing those HOA documents so crucial? Well, when you're buying a home and you're buying in an HOA community, you're not just buying the home, you're entering into an agreement with that homeowners association. And that agreement can affect everything that you do, how you live your life in that community. It can affect where you park your car. It can affect how many animals you have in the home. It can affect if your animals are allowed, the size of the animal, the breed of the animal. It can affect whether you can park your RV on the property or not. It can affect the color that you paint your house. Skipping the HOA document review is like signing a contract without reading it. You may be agreeing to rules and regulations that you're not aware of, and that could significantly impact your lifestyle and your overall budget. So, okay, let's break down what these HOA documents typically include. They include the CC&Rs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. And that's the main governing document of the HOA. It outlines the rules of the community, covers things like your architectural controls, pet policies, use of common areas, right? How about the bylaws? Talks about how the board members are elected, how meetings are conducted, how often meetings are conducted. Your rules and regulations, more day-to-day rules that complement the CC&Rs, those covenants, conditions, and restrictions, right? Your financial documents look at the current budget for the HOA, the reserves for repairs, information on any upcoming repairs. Is there money set aside for that? Is there enough money set aside for that? Look at past meeting minutes, newsletter, and community updates. And when you're reviewing these documents, here are some key areas to really focus in on. Look at the financial health of that HOA. Your lender will be very interested in this as well. Look at the fee structure. What are the HOA fees? How often are they paid? What do they cover? Are there any special assessments planned? Have there been any special assessments in the past for repaving the parking lots, for the roof in a condo association, for reseeding the common area maintenance areas, or replacing the children's play areas within a community, things of that nature. What amenities does the HOA provide and how are they maintained? What about the management style? Is it professionally managed by an outside third party? Does the HOA person live within the within the community? How does that affect how things are operate? Do they run efficiently? What about insurance? Your lender again will be very interested in this, particularly in a condo situation. What does your master policy, what does the HOA's master policy cover? And what are you, the individual, responsible for ensuring? What about any litigation, any ongoing legal disputes? Are there any violations and fines? What happens when someone breaks the rules? How is that handled? And you want to go over this because it helps you avoid surprises. It allows you to budget again accurately. But it helps you know whether this community, this HOA fits your lifestyle. It allows for future planning and allows for peace of mind. You know, knowing that you've done your homework, you've done your due diligence, it can make you more confident in your purchasing decision. Well, folks, we've covered a lot today. All right, we really have. And in tonight's webinar, we've covered a lot of ground. Avoid these costly mistakes, this Arizona Homebuyer webinar. And I just wanted to give a quick recap on the crucial mistakes that we covered today. And that would be counting yourself out. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just know what you're saying no to. Take advantage of the loan programs, down payment assistance programs that are out there. Don't get sucked into that new home builder machine. If that's the option for you, fantastic, but know what you're paying for, know what you're getting. Don't skip or waive the home inspection period and take a moment to get a feel for the neighborhood. Don't skip the document review period. Make the most of that, all right? Each of these mistakes, they can cost you time, cost you money, and a whole lot of stress. But armed with the knowledge that we shared here today, listen, you're already ahead of the game. So again, some key takeaways are: don't assume that you can't buy. Get the facts first. Explore all available programs and resources available to you. Approach new construction with your eyes wide open, okay? And a critical mindset. Always, always, always get a professional home inspection. Look, you can have Uncle Larry come by and look at it too, okay? That's fine. Uncle Larry can look at it, but also get a professional home inspection, all right? Thoroughly reviewing the HOA documents before committing to your purchase. And in a typical Arizona purchase contract, there is a time for review of those documents. Don't take that lightly. Remember that buying real estate, buying a home, it is a journey, okay? And it's okay to take it one step at a time. The goal isn't just to buy a house, it's to find the right home for you at the right price, and at the right location. So what's next? Where do we go from here? Next step, really, if you're interested, you can always reach out to me directly for a free consultation, all right? And just get an idea of, have your questions answered regarding real estate, whether this is the right time for you, answer any questions, fears that you may have around the process, and connect you with someone who can help you on the financial side that's more geared towards what your specific needs are, because there's many lenders out there, many loan programs, and they're experts. Some are experts and some are experts in others. Anyway, we discuss your specific situation and create a personalized home buying strategy. All right. We start researching home programs, down payment assistance programs here in Arizona, and squeeze the money out of people's pockets to get to you, okay? And I can provide you with a list of resources to get you started. So be sure to share this information with your friends, families, coworkers who may be considering buying real estate in 2025 and beyond. Knowledge is power, all right? And the more informed buyers that we have in our marketplace, the healthier our real estate market will be. Peeps, thank you so much for chiming in tonight. All right, I've been rattling here now for about 40 minutes, and I did promise you about that time. I do realize that your time is valuable. And as I mentioned, we are on a few different channels here tonight. Just wanted to see if any questions popped up, anything glaring came about. You can always reach out to me directly. Let's be sure to put that up there. If you don't want to chime in tonight with any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me directly there. I look forward to speaking to you to discuss your real estate needs and to help you with those goals in 2025 and beyond. All right. Folks, have a great night. Thank you very much for your time. And if I don't have an opportunity to speak to you individually, I wish you a happy, happy Thanksgiving. Gobble till you wobble. Ta-ta for now.